Okay, let's identify different features of this graph. I'm going to have two x-intercepts, right? So if I have a parabola, let's say my parabola looks like this. My x-intercepts are where the parabola hits the x-axis. So that's going to be these 2 points where the parabola touches the x-axis. So here, this is the x-axis, and my parabola hits here and here. So for A and C, I'm going to write x-intercept. Now, my y-intercept is where the parabola hits, right? So these are my x-intercepts. My y-intercept is where this parabola hits the y-axis. This is the y-axis, so here is my y-intercept. It's where the parabola hits the y-axis, and here is my y-axis here. And so my y-intercept is this point right here where the parabola touches. So D is y-intercept. The axis of symmetry is the line that goes down the middle of the parabola that splits it in half, right? So the axis of symmetry is that line. In this case, that line is labeled with an E, and that is my axis of symmetry. And finally, my vertex is the point that's at the very bottom of my parabola, or sometimes it is at the very top of my parabola, as it is here. This is the vertex. Okay, that is B. Okay, and if you're a visual person, you might really benefit from writing x-intercept, right, y-intercept. And then you can even write along this line, this is the axis of symmetry. Okay, so that might really help if you're kind of a visual person to just sort of see it written on the graph. All right, now, on the flip side, we can take those points and we can actually give, actual points for them. So what I need to remember about my x-intercepts is that they're points on the x-axis. So here's one of my x-intercepts right here. And this point, right, I always need an x and then a y. And the x value of this point is these numbers, which is -1. And the y value of this point is the number along the y-axis. And so that number for this point that's sitting on the x-axis is 0. And the same will be true for the other x-intercept, right? Which is that for the x-intercepts, my y value is always 0 because those x-intercepts are sitting on the x-axis, and therefore the y value is 0. In this case, the value of the x value is 3. The y-intercept is right here. That's this point. That's where the parabola hits the y-axis, right? This is the y-axis and the x-axis. So this is the y-intercept, and that point has an x value of 0. And a y value of 3. Okay, I'm going to sketch my axis of symmetry. It's right here. This is my axis of symmetry, and that line is at an x value because it's a vertical line, so it's always x equals. And what does x equal? Look, it equals this number, x equals 1. Okay, look, at any point along this line, x is 1. This is 1, -1, 1, -2, 1, -3, and so on. The vertex is this point right here. It is always on the axis of symmetry, so the x value is always that same x value that was here, right? This point is 1, and the y value is -4. And in this case, for this vertex, this is a minimum, right? A maximum would be if the parabola was this way and the vertex was sitting on top of the graph. That's what a maximum would look like. This one's a minimum. My domain, this graph goes forever to the right and forever to the left. And so my domain is all the possible x values. It goes on forever. I write all real numbers. And my range, what I ask myself is, where does my graph start? And where does it go? And in this case, what I would answer is my graph starts at -4 and it goes up, right? It starts at -4 and it goes up. So what I want to communicate is that my y values are all the values that start at -4 and then all the values that are more than -4. So the way that I would write that is greater than or equal to -4. Okay, and that's what I would write. And these are just kind of the questions you can ask yourself as you're figuring out the range.